Hello, everyone. This is Independent Conservative. I am Ryan Bowling. Thank you all for joining me. Well. Former President Donald Trump has done it again. But guess what? The Communist Chinese government is having a hissy fit. That's a major problem for them. Let's get right into this article and find out exactly what is the problem with them. I mean, why? You guys are not happy? The Chinese state-run newspaper Global Times urged the world on Monday, shortly before the beginning of the Iowa primary caucuses, to quote, to prepare for the possibility of Donald Trump being reelected as president. That's obviously before, but it says Trump, who served as president from 2016 to 2020 and maintained an aggressive anti-communist foreign policy, decisively won the Iowa caucuses hours later by the largest margin in the history of the Republican contest. That is monumental. Wow. That's historical. Let's go on. As a candidate running against incumbent leftist President Joe Biden, and I would have to add incompetent Joe Biden, Trump has prioritized challenging the Chinese Communist Party's espionage efforts in America and seeking redress for the party's role in causing the you know what. Okay, yeah, you know what that is. Trump has also condemned Biden, whose family has been involved in business dealings with regime-linked Chinese businesses for years, for being insufficiently serious in addressing the threat China presents to America and the world. And some have argued that Trump has had business dealings with with the Chinese government as well. I don't know all the details with that, but I think that the issue here has more or less to do with giving away information to communist China that shouldn't be given to communist China in terms of intellectual property and other things. If that can be proven on the side of Trump, then there might be a problem. But it seems clear that the Biden administration and Biden family members have been involved in that kind of nonsense. Of course, the mainstream media don't want to cover that, but it's all good. The Global Times routinely shames the United States for holding presidential elections. This is interesting, calling it a low-quality democracy compared to the totalitarian, repressive rule in China under genocidal dictator Xi Jinping. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And of course, he's a communist. They're communists. And let me point something out real quickly here before I go any further with it. What this article is talking about, and I want to make this clear, because it may be someone who may be Chinese that's listening to this video. I highly doubt it, but if you are, this is not an attack against Chinese people in general. This is a critique of, so to speak, of the Chinese government, which is communist. They may use capitalist concepts and capitalist economic principles, but the government is wholly, thoroughly communist. So we're talking about the Communist Chinese government, the CCP. That's what that acronym means. Communist Chinese Party, which is basically the government, okay? It's the government, which is communist thoroughly, that we're talking about here. So I want to reiterate that, not regular Chinese people. Okay, anyway. The newspaper called upon its staple of American politics experts on Monday to assess the Iowa caucuses before they happened, who lamented that Trump would likely emerge as the Republican president nominee and perform strongly in Iowa. And that he did. And this article goes on to talk about how that China is just having it. For example, here's one particular one that says, Chinese experts believe that judging from the current situation, Trump is unchallenged within his party. And once the general election phase begins, Biden may not be a strong opponent for Trump, the newspaper continues. This means the world may need to prepare for the possibility of Trump returning to power and a more divided U.S. with fighting between the political parties getting worse. Notice what they're saying, what the CCP is saying. The world needs to prepare. The world? Trump is about making America great again. But the Chinese Communist Party, through this newspaper that they control and own, the Global Times, is flipping and tripping that if he gets back in office, the world needs to prepare for his coming, right? Now, why is that? Well, I'll tell you one of the main reasons for that is because Trump is not a globalist. All these other presidents like Biden and Obama and Bush, they were globalists. They were all about putting America in everybody else's business, taking over other countries, pushing agendas in these other countries that these other countries disagree with, like the gay lifestyle, transgenderism, and so forth. Under the Obama administration, from what I can understand, under his administration, he tried to push transgender on a particular African country. I think it was in Jamaica, something like that. And I know that to be accurate because I worked with a Jamaican on my job. And he was one of the bike patrolmen that worked with me, and he actually trained me. And he shared with me how that under the Obama administration, one of the reasons why he disliked Obama was because under his administration, Obama tried to push transgenderism and the gay lifestyle over there in one of the provinces or areas of Jamaica. And he said the Jamaican people rose up against it, and they said, and he told me, he shared with me that in those certain areas in that country, they don't play that. You get your head and everything else lopped off. Those were the words he told me, okay? So clearly he's a Jamaican and he knows what's going on. And so this is what a lot of these globalist politicians are all about. Taking over other countries, putting in those countries a central banking system so that they can control them through the Federal Reserve, right? Control the economics, and then pushing agendas onto those countries that those countries do not agree with. Trump is against that. Obviously, China is all for that because China wants control. China wants control. They're taking over everything, and they're trying to push America out of everything, and they're trying to create a hegemony in everything. At this point, America has a lot of business investments in different areas and countries and so forth, and they have different power structures in other countries. China wants that power structure, so they're trying to hedge America out. They're trying to hedge America out and take over those parts of the country. Okay, they want absolute total control. If Trump gets back in office, it's going to be a problem for them because he's not going to let them have the control in America that they once had, especially with the trade deficit and all of that. Trump was all on top of that. You guys can sell products to us free of charge, but vice versa, we can't. Left us with a deficit in the hundreds of billions of dollars. He wasn't feeling that. Trump wasn't feeling that. There was a problem for the Chinese Communist Party. I'm just saying. That's the spin I wanted to give on this article is the fact that we all know Trump won. Big time he won. I mean, like the Iowa Caucus is it. But the major shift now is with China. Okay, they got a problem with that. But let's read a little bit more. I want to read a little bit more. The state propaganda outlet noted that not only was Trump significantly more popular than his remaining opponents, former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, but Biden's, quote, job approval has hit a new low. And I'm trying, let me say something here real quick about Nikki Haley. I don't understand how, when I looked at the polls, how her numbers were so high, higher than Vivek's numbers. Like he had like 7 or 8%, and she had like 27. Who would want to give her 20%? I mean, that's what got me. And when I actually listened to Ramaswamy's, when I actually listened to his departure speech, I could see the sadness in his eyes. Because even though he was very positive and upbeat in his departure speech and saying that he was going to suspend his campaign and he was going to support Trump, I could see the expression on his face was one of sadness. And I can imagine what he was thinking. How in the world did I only have 7 to 8% here and Nikki Haley has 20-something%? It made no sense. I could understand that he would understand why Trump would be way up there. But for Nikki Haley, didn't make any sense at all. And it says, former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, but Biden's job approval has hit a new low. It ought to. The polling data in the U.S. is quite transparent, and Trump's approval ratings indicate that he is still a very competitive candidate. The world should be prepared for this, Chinese regime-approved expert, I can't pronounce his name, but told the outlet. Trump is so popular that the Global Times assessed that the biggest obstacle to his return to power is the Democrats' attempt to remove him from presidential ballots through the court system, and that's exactly what they're trying to do. And he talks about the main problem for Trump lies in legal battles and all of this other nonsense. Yeah. The article goes on to say new agencies called the Iowa Caucus for Trump within the first hour of their opening in Monday. And some people had a problem with that. What? I forget exactly who had a problem with that. I don't know if it was one of Nikki Haley's campaign contributors or campaign advisors or what. But I remember him having a problem with news agencies calling in the win for Trump within the first hour of the opening. It was a problem for him. But anyway, as of Tuesday morning, vote tallies showed Trump attracting 51% support, over 20% above his top challenger, DeSantis. A CNN early interest poll found about 55% of evangelicals entered the contest with the intent to vote for Trump, over twice as many as those supporting DeSantis. Very interesting. Trump also surprised pollsters by attracting more support from Iowa's Republican women than with male voters. Very interesting. And Trump says this. He says, whether it's Republican or Democrat or liberal or conservative, it would be so nice if we could come together and straighten out the world and straighten out the problems and straighten out all of the death and destruction that we're witnessing, Trump said in his victory speech on Monday night. And he talked about, now I want to say something real quick here, when he said, if we could come together and straighten out the world. He could be doing that to be politically correct, but no, I think you shouldn't even mention the world. I think the issue first is America. America should be first. Let's straighten out the issues in America first. And any dealings that we have with countries and with other countries, any alliances, any deals we have, we'll deal with that later. But let's straighten out America first. So putting the term world in there could have been him being politically correct, so that he don't add more tension to all and tension and problems that he already have. Or could it be something else? Could he be just saying that because if he actually gets in office, I don't know. I just don't like the term world, but anyway. Our job first is America. Straighten America out first, then we deal with the world. But anyway, that's what he said in his victory speech last night. Okay. But Trump also congratulated his top competitors, which he did, and I heard that. And then, Vivek, basically, Ramaswamy basically said, as I said earlier, he said he's going to suspend his campaign. He's going to help Trump. In fact, I'm going to read that here. Earlier tonight, I called Donald Trump to tell him that I congratulate him on his victory, and now going forward, he will have my full endorsement for the presidency, the statement continued. So that's all I'm going to read right there. You can read the rest of that article in the description box below. I went longer than I normally should with that, but I wanted you to get all the juicy details of that. But yeah, the problem now here is with China. And if you read further in the article talks about Europe itself getting in, Europe having a problem with that as well. It's like, well, if Trump gets back in office, and I'm paraphrasing their words, if Trump gets back in office, European leaders are saying we're basically going to be on our own, But once again, if that being the case, once again, that pushes the idea that Trump, or the reality rather, that Trump is not a globalist. Okay, Trump is not trying to create a one world government. Okay, that's not the impression that I get with Trump. He knows that as president, he has to deal with other countries because we have alliances and so forth with other countries. We have deals with other countries. We do use some of their goods and their materials and resources as they use some of ours. So Trump understands that, and you can't just undo all of those things just because you're the president. Trump, president, he understands that. And maybe perhaps saying that, perhaps that's why he used the word world in his victory speech. Okay, he used the term world, maybe, But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? Trump is not a globalist. He's not all about Okay, let me take care of this country over here and take care of this country over there. He's all about taking care of America first. Let's deal with America's problems first, and then we'll deal with all these other people's problems. Because these other countries, a lot of these other countries that we have alliances with and agreements with do not love America and the freedoms that it presents. Now, when I say freedoms, we're not talking about all this other nonsense. Okay, I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about the immorality of America. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about freedom of speech, freedom to own a weapon, freedom of religion. A lot of these other countries, okay, freedom of expression, freedom to be what you want to be. A lot of these other countries that we have alliances with and so forth don't have that kind of government structure. So they don't love America. Okay? And if Trump gets in office, again, if by some miracle he gets back in, it's going to be America first. And he's hoping it's going to be America first, and then you guys second. That's a problem for them. It's a problem for China. There may be a problem for other countries that we have deals with and alliances with. There may be a problem. They don't care about America falling apart. I'm not saying all the countries, but I'm talking about some of them. These totalitarian countries that are run by socialists and communists and radical religious regimes, they don't care about America internally falling apart. They could care less about that. As long as their needs and wants are met, that's all they care about. And if Trump gets back in office, that's going to stop. If Trump holds his original vision, that's going to stop. And that is a problem for communist China. And it's a problem for other countries that are into communism and socialism and radical religious totalitarianism. Yeah, that's what I want. That's the edge I wanted to spin. But it is what it is. I believe that America has, and I'm speaking now on a spiritual level, that America still has a purpose. I believe it still has a purpose. I don't believe it's totally over for America. I don't believe it's totally over for America. Anything can happen. Now, I must say, I'm not banking on one particular person to save America. I really honestly believe that only God could actually do that. But I also believe that God works through specific people in order to accomplish his purpose for this country. Because quiet as it may be kept, and I know some people have a problem with this, but America was originally founded on biblical principles. The Bible is not in the Constitution, is not in the Bill of Rights, nor is it in the Declaration of Independence, but the principles and the teachings of freedom is in those documents. The Bible is in there in principle. And many of the founders did believe in God, particularly the Pilgrims and the Puritans. Okay? Yes, America had a flawed history. Yes, it was not perfect. Yes, they had slaves. But because of this spiritual belief, that's part of what got rid of slavery, because they knew that did not line up. So let's quit playing games. Okay? And we strayed away from those principles. We strayed away from those principles and moral values that helped keep America to at least some extent on a strong basis, so that when American citizens were pressured into doing the wrong thing prior to the 60s, when they were pressured to doing the wrong thing, they maintained their integrity at least to some extent. It kept the country from falling completely apart like it is now. America's a cesspool of immorality now because we left those principles. Based on that reality, I believe that because America was originally founded on these principles, that I believe that America is not so far away that it can't be changed. It's still a possibility, and I believe that God works through different people to bring that reality back. So let's see what happens. Once again, congratulations to Trump. He won by a landslide. This is historical. Nobody can deny it at all. Okay. Now let's see what the Democrats going to do. When I say the Democrats, I mean the Democratic Party. And let's see what people who voted for Biden, let's see what they're going to do. I'm hearing stories of some people, turning from Biden and turning from the Democratic Party and saying we're going to vote for Trump, blacks for Trump, women for Trump, this for Trump, that for Trump, But these are just small pockets. I want to see once a general election starts, we're going to see what's going to happen. I'm going to watch carefully to see what the Democrats are going to do, what little sly games they're going to play to try to get Trump out. We'll see. because it's certainly not going to take him out physically, because they don't want him to be a martyr, and they don't want hell on earth or hell on this country, because that's exactly what's going to end up happening if they do that. They don't want to be that stupid, so they got to find some other way to try to get him out of here. But we'll see. We'll see by the grace of God. We're going to see how this pans out. But that's what I wanted to say about that. Yeah, congratulations once again for Donald Trump, man. I'm happy for him. And I pray the best for him. He's the best man. And also, I like the fact that, Ramaswamy, when he gave his speech, and this is interesting because I want to say this and I'm going to start summing this up. I actually found this out about 2 o'clock in the morning. It was 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm on my laptop, and it's 2 o'clock in the morning. And I happened to click onto there and found out that, man, Ramaswamy, he's dropping out. He's dropping out. I said, oh man, because I really like this guy. He's extremely articulate, very intelligent. I mean, he communicates himself very, very well. I love the way he communicates himself. He's the best communicator to me since Obama. He would be like the Republican counterpart of Obama. Okay. But I don't see, policy-wise, we're not even go there. Okay. But yeah, he's very intelligent. And I hated to see that he left so early. I hated to see that. Because I really was starting to like him. And if Trump was to get defeated, if somehow the deep state, if you will, keeps Trump off the ballots or keeps him from, something happens, he's just not able to get in, I would put my vote in for Vivek. I would. I would have no problem with it. He seems to be a sincere person. He seems to be real. Okay? And that's why the mainstream media attacks him. Because they think they can just say anything to him, think he's going to just flow with like all the other Republicans do. No, it seems to me he's not an establishment person. He's another independent, populist independent like Trump was and is. So yeah, but yet he said he's going to endorse Trump and he's going to support Trump. So that's a good thing. So let's see how that pans out. But what do you guys think? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, subscribe to my channel. God bless you all. See you again.